major supply port. So it is easier for them to purchase or procure goods there or procure out of Florida and have it shipped into the Bahamas at much shorter time and with all of the logistics arrangements taken care of therein. If we do it the other way, then there's a tremendous cost to shipping from the Eastern Caribbean. One, there's a cost to collect, to package, to sort, because when you do drives back, you do get things that you do not need, and they have to be sorted, and there's a cost for that. And when it is shipped to its location, it has to be unpacked, sorted, and reshipped to Abaco or to Grand Bahama. There's a cost for that. So it's much easier for us to have the pledge of cash. They can buy what they need. There are a number of innovative programs which are now being applied in today's relief operations, such as cash for work, cash transfers that provide support for the victims or the persons impacted and also preserves their dignity. So we're using a number of new approaches to address the needs of those who are affected.
You know, there's a...
And there are tons of relief operations that are currently happening. You know, there are the islands of the Bahamas share a close kinship with a number of South Floridians. So you have individuals who are flying in relief supplies from there. You have large cargo arriving from approved relief entities. And so to make sure there's no congestion and there's efficiency of the process, I do recommend that you contribute financially to the process.
One other question I want to ask on that score. Caribbean people would naturally be suspicious about giving money. We're always concerned about whether the money reaches the people that it's supposed to reach, how the money is going to be distributed, that sort of stuff and so on. So in a sense, could you reassure how the management of the financial resources will be handled, given that we are being asked to give primarily financial contributions?
Well, let me say this: you can never say that every approach is airtight. I mean, we've seen relief operations where people buy goods and send it in small packages, and it gets lost in amongst the large relief stocks that are being managed. So you do have challenges there, but with cash, you can find approved and reputable institutions that are audited, that have handled these kinds of situations and report on the use of these resources. So you can channel the resources to a number of reputable organizations that will see to addressing the needs and have the ability to report on the use of these resources.
Okay,
so
thank you.
If you don't want to give to the government, because the Bahamian government has set up accounts. If you don't want to give to the government, they have also facilitated giving to relief organizations and through SEDEMA, among others. So you have options, and you have options that have a track record and credibility and the sort of fiduciary and accountability systems in place that allows you the checks and balances. Yeah.
Executive Director of SEDEMA, Ronald Jackson. Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson, for joining us here on Rise Again Bahamas. Thank you very much. That's the Executive Director of SEDEMA, Ronald Jackson, giving us some information, a first-hand view. He was on the ground earlier and also explaining to us why it really does make more sense to contribute financially. And if you want to know how to do that, you can make pledges and donations by calling 228-6288 or 467-5507, or by WhatsApp by using 467-5444. If you want to make immediate payments using your credit or debit card, you need to go do so online at www.riseagainbahamas.com, or you can come here to the CBC to make cash and check donations, and you can also make your donation live here on TV8. There's a fund also open at all branches of First Caribbean International Bank, and those donations can be made to the SEDEMA Bahamas/Barbados Relief Fund, and the account number is 100-118-66 884. And we'll be repeating that information throughout the evening, scrolling it across the bottom of our screen so that you can also always know what that information is. And we're doing this, as you know, in a line with all of our media partners. We're now going to bring you a lady whose music and whose voice is nothing short of phenomenal. And at this time, we need a little inspiration, and she's going to do that for us. Singing For Every Mountain, Alison Norville.
I've got so much to thank God for. So many wonderful blessings and so many open doors. A brand new mercy along with each new day. That's why I praise you for this. I give you praise. Oh, yeah. For wake me up this morning, for starting me on my way, for letting me see the sunrise of a brand new day, a brand new mercies along with each new day. That's why I praise you for this. I give you praise. You're Jehovah Jireh. You've been my provider. So many times you've met my need. So many times you've rescued me. I want to thank you for the blessings you've given to me each day. That's why I praise. Oh, that's why I praise you for this. I give you praise. Oh, yeah. For this I give you praise. Oh, yeah. Lord, for every mountain you've safely brought me over. For every trial you see me through. For every blessing, Lord, I say, I
And we've got an audience here with you. I got to tell you, brought me to tears, that one, the beautiful Alison Norville with For Every Mountain. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come right back, more here on Rise Again Bahamas, the Mediathon to support the islands of the Bahamas. Stay with us.
And we're back, and with me is Mr. Selwyn Smith, who is the honorary consul, I believe, for the Bahamas. I don't know how many people in here know this, but there's a little relationship that goes back a few years, shall we say, because at one point he was chairman of CBC, and a pretty good one, I might add, during my tenure here at CBC, and one of the more enjoyable periods. So you're back. It's like we didn't leave.
Yeah.
All we need is Philip Hines behind one of the cameras now, and we're set to go because we've got Cecilia
It's the
up
same
there
studio.
and so on. Same studio and everything and so on. Just some new, fresh faces like Mahalia and all the others who are coming up.
Yep.
Selwyn, this has to be a very difficult challenge and difficult time for you and the people of the Bahamas. So I'm sure you want to reach out and talk to the people of Barbados directly about this appeal and about what it would mean for them to give.
Yeah.
You know.
Thank you, Vic, and thank you for the kudo you just gave me. It's unusual to get kudos from people who I've worked with, but be that as it may. Good afternoon, Barbados, Barbadians everywhere, and to all those hearing my voice. I'm particularly grateful to be invited to join the telethon, which has been organized by the government of Barbados and the media houses, not only to raise funds for a deserving cause, but to give all of us an opportunity to empathize with our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas who have suffered in unimaginable ways. It is my mission as Honorary Consul for the Bahamas in Barbados to make a special appeal to all of you who are listening on behalf of the Bahamas and those who suffered in that awful storm Dorian, which sat over the Abaco and Grand Bahama for days, and which resulted in loss of property and of life. I don't think that anyone who's seen the pictures of the destruction and the extent of it, heard the individual stories of pain and suffering, will need to be persuaded to support this effort that is being made through this telecon. It is indeed a cry for help, to help your fellow man. It is a story of pain, suffering, and loss that must have tested the strongest spirits of the Bahamian people. The Prime Minister, the Honorable Hubert Minnis himself, was deeply saddened with the events as they unfolded. And although he admitted the resilience of the Bahamian people, he recognized that they will have to work day and night, week after week, month after month, until the situation is restored. It is a mammoth task, and it will take time. Also, it emphasizes that we, as a country or person, can never provide adequately for the enormity of these catastrophes. We in Barbados were fortunate. We were spared the wrath of this said storm, which after passing us, upgraded itself to unimaginable proportions and pounded on the Abaco and Grand Bahama for hours on end, a situation which is unheard of in the Caribbean history of hurricanes. I've lived in the Caribbean all my life, but I've actually not come face to face with the dangerous hurricanes that have existed. It is true I did live through Janet many years ago and witnessed the ferocity of the winds. I think that was the destruction, but I think that it was the destruction in Dominica by Maria in 2017 and Irma in Bahamas in 2017 and the extreme human suffering that followed that gave me a new view of hurricanes. The destruction can be almost total, and people on islands have no place to go. There's no place really to evacuate to. So we will always be rebuilding, and we'll always be in need of each other's help. In these circumstances, the government of the Bahamas will be grateful for all the help it does receive, and is duly pleased with the response from other governments, international and regional agencies, companies and organizations, and from individuals like you and me. I know you can help the Bahamas rise again, and so I ask that you give generously to this fund. And those of you who are unable to give financially, please keep us in your prayers.
You know, thank you very much for that, Selwyn. But one of the challenges that I suspect the Bahamas would face that is unique to the Bahamas is the sheer magnitude of the spread of the islands, moving resources and so on. That has to be a logistical nightmare for the islands of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And yet you have lived through, in the Bahamas, terrible storms in the past. So there must be some expertise on the ground to deal with situations such as this, Irma, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Care to comment?
Yeah, there's an organization, NEMA, that looks after, coordinates all these efforts in the Bahamas. As you said, it's a long chain of islands. Fortunately, I think in this case, the Abaco and the Grand Bahama is almost next door to Florida. So a lot of assistance have been just flowing from Florida into both Abaco and Grand Bahama. In addition, the Bahamas has had a pretty good relationship with Florida. Bahamians are in and out of Florida. Many of them probably have got families living in Florida. And it's always amazed me how easy it is for a Bahamian to go in and out of Florida.
But of course, you check in, your immigration and your customs checks are done in the Bahamas. So when you board the flight, it's a local flight, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, Bahamians can go to Florida almost on a birth certificate and come back. Unfortunately, sometimes they complicate it by coming out to Barbados from that. And then they can't get back home through Miami.
But that's where you come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's look at this now from a Barbadian perspective. You know, we've been pretty generous over the years in terms of some of these efforts, and I know wearing a hat in another place, we raised $2.1 million on one occasion, $2 million on another, once for Grenada, once for Haiti, and so on. So these events, these activities have been very successful from a Barbadian perspective. We've always given and given generously. But I can't help but wonder how well we prepare at this end, because you hear the inevitable God is a Bajan, and particularly after the passage of Dorian, that seemed to have gained credence once again, that God is a Barbadian. Then what does that make the Bahamians in terms of their relationship to the deity? Yeah. So we have to, you know, I want to pose that question to you, because you've also worked in a regional institution as head of CARICAD. What can we do, you think, for our own people to take this more seriously?
Well,
in terms of preparation?
Yeah, I thought we did a very good effort, made a very good effort this last Dorian. And I think the Prime Minister did an extremely good job in preparing the country for any eventuality. Thankfully, we didn't have to suffer the eventuality. And I hear that some people were a bit unhappy about the fact that we have to prepare to that extent. But if you don't prepare to that extent, then you're opening yourself to danger unnecessarily. It is true you can prepare to that extent, but then when you are buffeted by winds of 185 miles per hour, it is difficult then to survive.
And you know, I heard an element of frustration in the Prime Minister's voice, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, when a question was posed to him about the rescue operations when the storm was literally sitting over Abaco. And he said, you know, he returned the question to the journalist. He said, if I ask you to go out in winds of 185 miles per hour to rescue the people of Abaco, would you? And of course, we know what the answer is. So there was still that element of concern.
But that was even before the hurricane. He was trying to get them to evacuate before then. But they weren't responding in the way they should. Because I think they recognized what could happen if the hurricane focused on hitting Abaco.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, let's reiterate that what we are asking Barbadians, and by the way, it's not just Barbadians, but Barbadians in the diaspora, people across the globe who are following us on online. So because a number of the radio stations in Barbados are also using their online platforms. So through the magic of social media, we're not constrained by geographic boundaries, but we are actually able to expand our audience to a worldwide audience. So let's hope that they too who are listening are moved to give and to contribute to this really amazing and worthwhile cause. Selwyn Smith, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor, for that interview with Selwyn Smith. But next we go to 2 Mile Hill. They're going to be performing Rise Up. But before that, just a quick reminder of how you can support this amazing effort. Pledges and donations can be made by calling 246-228-6288 or 246-467-5507 or via WhatsApp. It's 246-467-5444. If you want to make immediate payments, you can do so at www.riseagainbahamas.com using your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or your Discover card. Or come right up here to CBC, The Pine in St. Michael and make your cash and check donations. You can do that during the live broadcast. There's also a fund open at all branches of the First Caribbean International Bank, and those donations can be made to the Sedema Bahamas/Barbados Relief Fund. The account number is 100-118-6684. How much can you pledge? Just pledge from the heart. Every little bit helps. Believe me, as little as you think you have, the people of Abaco, of the Abaco Islands, and also of Grand Bahama have nothing. So whatever little you can give, if you want to bring more awareness and get more people to contribute, use the hashtags on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There is hashtag Pledge to Help, hashtag Bahamas Rise Again, hashtag Barbados Cares, or you can repost any of the videos and pictures, and let's make a difference and get this trend in Barbadians. I know you to be a warm, wonderful, giving people. We can do this. We can do this. We can assist our brethren and our neighbors and our sisters in the Bahamas. So please, let's do this. We now go to our stage for music by 2 Mile Hill singing Rise.
Broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round. You can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out. bring it to his feet. Ooh, mountains, I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you. Like the day, I will rise up in spite of the ache. We will rise, we'll do it 1,000 times again. We'll rise up high like the day. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Thank you very much. Tuma Hill there with Mahalia singing Rise. Thank you very much. And I have with me two Bahamian students, Sydney Walker and Thatcher Luton. And they're going to tell us a little bit about their own experience. Ladies, welcome to Rise Again Bahamas. You are at university here?
Yes, we are. Just a little correction. We are not Bahamian students. I am actually the Guild president. I'm representing the university today, and this is the public relations officer of the Guild of Students, Sydney Walker, representing the Guild of Students.
How have you been dealing with the members of the Guild who are from the Bahamas?
Well, very recently, the Guild of Students, we had a disaster. We had a disaster plan, and we had allotted some funds to it. And of course, we too are joining in the donation to the Bahamas. We actually have 4 members on our council who are Bahamian students, and most of them would have been affected some way or another because their families are still in the Bahamas. And so, of course, we are playing our part in a little counseling and a little donation as well. And we have a donation drive, so that's our input for now.
You've talked about doing getting counseling for them. What form has that taken?
Well, it has taken the form of our university. We have psychologists and trained therapists and so forth on campus, and we are utilizing them in order to provide comfort, coping mechanisms as much as we can for the Bahamian students, because it is very difficult to be a student as it is. And to add on top of that, the tragedy that they're experiencing back in their hometowns and being separated from their family, it's something that we really recognize the importance of, because it's not easy to be in a whole different country than where the disaster is happening and where your people are being affected.
And the disaster is such that you can't even say, well, I'm going to fly home and see how anybody's doing.
No, because because even recently I was reading about the Freeport airport being damaged. So most of our students are from Abaco, Freeport, and mostly in the Nassau area. And so, of course, they can't fly home to find out. Most of them some have been communicating, some haven't heard from their family members yet. So, but one thing I could say, though, the University of West Indies gave the campus they're playing a very important part. And I must bring greetings on behalf of the principal, Professor Udin Barito, and the campus community, because the UWKV campus, we have a tradition not only to educate our students, but we also look forward in helping our Caribbean countries in national disaster times right now. And of course, we are playing our part as the UWKV campus as well. And we know that Bahamas will rise again, and the UWE will be an intrinsic part of ensuring that the Bahamas rise again.
What will you say to Barbadians who are watching this program and encouraging them that how they can assist, how they can help?
Well, what I would say is that Barbados, just with the presence of the University of the West Indies, is a pillar of diversity and integration in the Caribbean. And as part of that role, it comes to stand that we all stand together when a tragedy like this arises. There's no individual nation here anymore. There is CARICOM, there's the Caribbean supporting one another. So to any Barbadians, I would say to you that we must help our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. They are a part of us. They are a part of CARICOM. They are a big part of the culture that we all share and represent together. And it is our duty to show solidarity and support them in any way possible, even if it's just with 1 cent. Every single cent and every donation counts.
I truly agree. Just the other day, we were in Barbados preparing for Dorian as well, so we were expecting it as well. It's just unfortunate that it went to the Bahamas, so of course it could have been Barbados. So I say to everybody, give. And as Sydney said, if it's even 1 cent, 25 cents, 10 cents, every single cent counts.
I saw someone on Facebook the other day asking if people in Barbados feel survivor's guilt, that we prepared for Dorian and hardly anything happened, and then it just developed and strengthened and moved on throughout the region, and then it hit Abaco Island and it hit Grand Bahama with such ferocity, and then the hurricane just sat over it for like 2 days. So they really had all the storm surge, all the rain, etc., etc. You talked about doing a drive on campus. What form is that drive taking?
Well, the drive has taken a donation, so people could donate canned foods, whatever they have to donate, clothes and stuff, to the drive on campus. What we're trying to do is basically to help our students on campus first, because some of them would not be able to receive funds from back home, from the Bahamas, and so of course we want to at least have something on campus for them.
It's true.
It's not always about the money, so if we at least have the tin supplies, if we at least have food supplies, then we could always donate.
Because we're all about caring for the students that we do have here, and we have to recognize that, as Tacha mentioned, their links back home have been severed or temporarily disconnected as the time stands. So the Guild of Students, we have several welfare funds available to help fund whatever they may need while we are waiting recovery.
Okay, but ladies, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Once again, please encourage Barbadians. Look at the camera. And encourage the Barbadians to give. We want the phones to start to ring. We want Barbadians to start to pledge. Please.
Yes, of course, remember that we're one Caribbean and we have to help each other, brother country, sister country. So please, Barbadians, please give anything you have, if it's even $1, yes, 5 cents, or 10 cents. The Bahamas needs it. True. Thank you.
To our viewers at home, I'm going to look at you right in the eye right now. It is your duty as a Caribbean citizen, as a CARICOM citizen, to give and support each other. Bahamas cannot and will not stand alone. We have to do our part to help them. It is our part as pillars of regional integration to ensure that we do everything that we possibly can, to exhaust any resource we can, to ensure their recovery and their survival.
Thank you very much, ladies. That is Sydney Walker and Patrick Luton, the president of the Guild of Students at the UWI and PRO, encouraging you and imploring you to please give and give from the heart. Give whatever you can. No donation is too small. Don't look at your $2 bill and say to yourself, this ain't gonna help. Every little bit helps. And you can give your pledges and donations by calling us at 246-228-6288 or 246-467-5507. WhatsApp 246-467-5444. If you want to make immediate payments using your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover card, you can do that at www.riseagainbahamas.com, or you can come right here to the CBC in the Pine and make your cash and check donations during the live broadcast. If today passes, you're not going to get paid until the end of the week. You still have time. The fund is open at all the branches of First Caribbean International Bank, and donations can be made to the Sedema Bahamas Barbados Relief Fund. The account number is 10011866684. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Our next performance is from one of my favorite groups, G Syndicate. I've got this feeling.
I woke up this morning and I didn't have much to eat. The landlord told me I'd soon be in the streets. I went to my job and you know I got there late. Then the boss man told me, boy, you came in time for break. So my heart started racing and we started conversating. And the boss man said I gotta leave. So I packed my stuff. Imagine life's so rough. I ain't got time to breathe, but I got this. But I got this. But I got this. But I got this feeling. But everything's gonna be alright. I got this feeling. I'm gonna make it through this ride. Yes, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm gonna make it through. I realize lately, but life is getting crazier. This pretty smile I fake it. This type of mind thing is dead in blood. Realize to make it through, you gotta look up to the sky. Cause life is a hustle, so I gotta spread my wings and fly. It's when I saw my reflection and I came to my decision. My God, it was time to change. So many mistakes, Lord, I need a fresh take. Time to rearrange, but I got this, but I got this, but I got this, but I got this feeling. Everything's gonna be alright. I got this feeling. I'm gonna make it through this ride. Yes, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm gonna make it through. I got this feeling. I got this feeling. I got this feeling. I got this feeling, this feeling. I got this feeling. That everything's gonna be alright. I got this feeling. I'm gonna make it through this ride. I got this feeling. Yes, I got this feeling. Yes, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm gonna make it through. Yes, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm gonna make it through. Yes, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm gonna make it through.
We've got an audience here. We've got an audience here with us. We've got an audience here with us appreciating the performances that we've gotten so far. We've seen 2 Mile Hill. We've just seen G Syndicate and Allison Norville Ford a little earlier up. We've got over 35 volunteers in our 2 call centers waiting to take your phone calls. Don't forget, you can call us. Those numbers again, 246-228-6288 or 246-467-5507. You can send your pledge by WhatsApp, 467-5444. If you want to make those immediate payments, you've got your credit card in hand, your debit card is burning a hole, you really want to make that payment, you can go online, www.riseagainbahamas.com, and you can use your Visa, MasterCard, your American Express, or your Discover card. You can come on up here to CBC in the Pine St. Michael and make your cash and check donations. You can do it during the live broadcast. You can come on camera if you want to, or don't think that if today ends that you still can't make a contribution. You can do that at any branch of First Caribbean International Bank to the Sedema Bahamas / Barbados Relief Fund, and the account number is 100-118-6684. How much can you pledge? Just give from the heart. No amount is too small.
You know, you made the point a little earlier during the interview that if payday is not now, if money is low in the treasury,
there's still time.
There's still time. And I remembered some of the very successful ones that we did. we collected several $100,000 after the event, long after we had closed the bidding process and the offerings and so on. People continue to contribute. So don't feel in any way that you can't contribute. If you can't do it today, you can do it next week or even at the end of the month, because Sedema will have need for those resources whenever you can give those resources to us. So if you can't give today, you can pledge today, but you can pay. It's like fly now, pay later. So pledge now, pay later. All for a good cause, for the people of the Bahamas who are suffering at this time. And when you think of your own situation, the fact that you have lights, you have water, you have your telephone working, your internet is working, and you think of being deprived of those, what we would now regard as the basic necessities, food, shelter, and you see that people have no home, they have no clothing, they have absolutely nothing other than themselves, their physical being. Now is the time for us to rise up and to give.
Well, wait, this is our time, Vic. Our time is up, but we are going to throw right over now to Carol Roberts-Reefer, who is also here. We have a selection of presenters and personalities who are joining us, giving all of their time and talent free as part of this worthy cause. So please, whatever you can give, however little you think it is, trust me, it is far more than the people of the Abaco Islands and the Grand Bahama have. So please give as generously as you can. Carol?
Thank you very much, Joel, and very good afternoon, everyone, not only in Barbados, but all across the world, actually, where you're watching us either via CBC TV 8 or via the live stream. Well, it's the Mediathon, and it's for an extremely worthy cause. If you're like me and your grandmother's child, then you know the phrase, there but for the grace of God goes I. And therefore, one of the reasons why I want to encourage you to give today is just about 2 weeks ago, you were thinking, what's going to happen, because Barbados was getting ready for a national shutdown just a couple of hours after, which would have been the Monday. This is the call center. Say hi, everybody. This is the call center. This is one of the engine rooms of the Mediathon at CBC in the Pine this afternoon. This is where you can just very simply make that call, 228-6288, and pledge. How much do we want you to pledge? We want you to pledge how much ever you can afford. As Joel said so eloquently earlier, pledge from the heart. And people have been doing it all afternoon. Our aim is to get this glass container as full as possible, or even overflowing. And one such person who's come out early, remember we're going right up until 10 o'clock, is Linda Bowen. Good afternoon, Linda.
Good afternoon to everyone. And I am here this afternoon on behalf of the past scholars and friends of St. Gabriel's to donate a sum of money to the Bahamas, Rise Again Bahamas. The Past Scholars was started about 20 years ago, and our mandate is to help anyone in need, whether locally or internationally. We do quite a number of things. We fundraise, and from that fundraising, we donate all of our funds to feeding the needy, to people with medical issues, disasters, etc. And so it gives me great pleasure this afternoon to be able to donate on behalf of the Past Scholars and Friends of St. Gabriel's $2,000 towards the Rise Again Bahamas.
Excellent, Linda. Thank you so much. Now, from a personal perspective, were you following all of the news coverage of Hurricane Dorian as it left us and then headed to the north of the Caribbean?
Yes, I certainly was, and I was terrified, to be honest, for us first, and then, of course, for all of the islands that Dorian passed over, and for the Bahamas, because when Dorian sat on the Bahamas for that length of time, I thought, oh my goodness. And I do have connections with the Bahamas as well, and I'm told that a lot of the housing stock is gone. A lot of people are homeless, a lot of people cannot be accounted for. So it is really a terrible tragedy. There are animals that are gone as well, and really and truthfully, there but for the grace of God. Really and truthfully.
All right, Linda, well, just drop your check in. Thank you so much. And thank you very, very much for coming out and giving to this generous cause, Rise Again Bahamas, this afternoon. Well, I'm going to go from Linda to the McDonald sisters. Come over, little ones, because they too will make a donation to Rise Again Bahamas. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And what's your name?
Haley.
Haley. And your name is? Right. So how much money are you donating? So you're donating each some money, correct? So tell me, how did you, is this from your personal savings account? Did mommy and daddy give it to you?
Mom gave it to us.
How much money is it, may I ask?
50.
$50. Excellent. Now $50 from Haley. And Emma, how much from you?
$50.
$50 as well. Now, do you understand why you were giving this money?
Yes.
Okay, tell me, why are you giving this money?
To help save the people from Bahamas.
Help save the people from the Bahamas. Little children, just like you. Can you imagine if you had no toys? You had toys today, and then the hurricane came. You had no toys the next day, no house, no car, no snacks. How would you feel?
I would feel terrible.
Exactly. So we want to thank you so much for giving this little bit to the people of the Bahamas, and I'm sure they thank you as well. All right, so put your money in. All right, let's hear it for Haley and Emma. And we have one more. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you? Come here. And what's your name?
Thelma Gill Barnett. We're from the Messengers for Christ Ministry. And, we're trying to do our best, but we want to make a start.
Okay, and what's your name?
Della Evelyn, also from the Messengers for Christ Ministry as well.
Good. Now, your first thoughts when you must have seen some of the footage, the destruction across the Bahamas.
Well, my first thought was Barbados. And my first thought was something has spread its wings over this island. But when I look to see what has happened to the Bahamas, all I can think, God have mercy. That is all I can say, because it was a shock to the morals, the shock to the soul, and the shock to see people standing up there hopeless and not thinking that there's a better tomorrow.
Let's talk then about the power of faith and hope, because remember the theme of this Mediathon is Rise Again Bahamas.
That's right.
Well, we believe that, excuse me please, we believe that it is important to have faith in God. Whether you may be Christian or Muslim or whatever faith you believe, we believe it is important. And we thank God that in spite of what people may see, think, say, or do, we know that God is real, and we thank God that Bahamas will rise again. Amen. And that's why we are here today.
Amen. Thank you very much. My final question, from a personal perspective, we've spent the last 2 weeks looking at what Dorian has wrought across our beloved Caribbean. Has it changed you in any way personally? Lots of times you get up in the mornings and you begin thinking uniforms to press, this, that, work. Has it changed your perspective on life?
Of course, it changed my perspective in life, because it always said is there a hope for tomorrow? And you always think that we have to be living in the now and to give thanks, because we're not sure of anything that may happen. So you have to keep constantly thinking, what can I do to make life better? And basically that's it. Not for myself, but for everybody that we can think of, especially the youth.
I want to thank you very much. So here's how are we going to do it. You're going to give them the money, and you're going to give me a hug. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So there's a lot happening in the call center. Remember, the number to call is 266-6288. No amount is too small. Then again, no amount is too large either. So give from the heart. Give for this worthy cause this Sunday afternoon. Rise Again Bahamas.
Well, there you go. You've been given the invitation to call, and make sure that you call those numbers and make your donations. But most of all, we want you, after you've made those donations, to honor those donations, because it's very important that you do. Our heart, of course, certainly goes out to the people of the Bahamas and all their relatives. We've heard that the death toll will rise in the Bahamas. We haven't yet had any official word outside of the 43, 47 thereabout or so, but we are told that it is expected to rise. Abaco, of course, the home for mostly Haitians, and as you heard earlier in the program, a lot of undocumented migrants in the country. So we certainly hope that they can pull this all together. And the people of the Bahamas themselves are quite resilient, as we have seen. Several cruise ships traveling into the Bahamas, providing lots of food stuff and generators and all that. But on the line, we've got the ambassador, of course, General of CARICOM. He is Erwin Larocque. Hello, sir. Welcome, of course, to CBC's presentation as we attempt to assist the people of the Bahamas.
Thank you very much, and let me bid you and all your listeners a very good afternoon. Let me start by commending the effort which you are now undertaking.
Thank you.
To raise funds, much-needed funds for the people of the Bahamas, and I repeat, for the people of the Bahamas. I just returned from the Bahamas last night and had the opportunity of visiting Abaco Island. And what I saw on the ground is even worse than what I saw on some of the pictures that were on the media. It's just simply heart-wrenching to see the situation, particularly in Marsh Harbor, but in other communities on Abaco. And persons' lives have been affected in many different ways. Not only have they lost their homes, but they've also suffered some tremendous trauma of seeing their loved ones perhaps perish in front of them, and seeing their entire livelihood just dissipate in a matter of a few hours. So I want to commend you on this effort, and I want to also commend the generosity of your listeners. The Barbadian persons have come before. Hurricane Maria comes to mind, Hurricane Irma. I witnessed the mobilization of resources from Barbados personally, and your Coast Guard carrying supplies up to Dominica after that Hurricane Maria. So I just want to thank in advance all those who will make a contribution to this very worthy effort.
As we would imagine, sir, time is running out for the people on the Grand Bahama particularly, and the Abaco Island. What is the immediate plan of CARICOM?
What is it? Excuse me? What is it?
What is the immediate plan of CARICOM as it comes to assisting those people who have been asking for assistance? As you would imagine, time is running out for the people on the islands.
Sure. There are a number of our member states, in addition to CDEMA, and I'm aware that you had Ronald Jackson on earlier on of CDEMA, in addition to CDEMA providing and coordinating assistance on the ground, a number of our member states have already mobilized assistance to the Bahamas. The Jamaica Defense Force has moved in some personnel in there, and more are expected to go in, a total of more than 100 persons. Also, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force are sending persons in. They will all assist in search and rescue, in clearing roads and debris, and much needed assistance in that area. I know many other member states have personnel on standby, be they medical, engineering, and so on. Some countries have pledged water supplies, and some have made cash donations. Every single one of our member states have pledged in one way or another assistance to the Bahamas, and cash is much needed. Many of them have pledged cash as well as supplies to Bahamas, and that is being mobilized as we speak.
Mr. LaRock, some clearance for people not only in Barbados, but in the region, as you would imagine. CARICOM was very quick to act. Our Honorable Prime Minister here, Mayor Motley, got up very early, jumped on a plane. Several others from around the region. Of course, the chairman, Alan Chastanet, the St. Lucian Prime Minister, was also on board. A lot of people were questioning the position of the Bahamas and their support of CARICOM. Can you clarify their position for us as it relates to CARICOM?
Well, Bahamas is very much a member of CARICOM and participates in all of our various activities except for the trading arrangement, the CARICOM single market economy. They have a derogation on that particular issue. But in other areas, Bahamas participates and is a full member of CARICOM. And the people of the Bahamas are our brothers and sisters. They're Caribbean people. They're part of the Caribbean civilization. I also was on that plane with Prime Minister Motley and Prime Minister Shasty that went in. And the welcome we received in the sense of people recognizing that the Caribbean community, the Caribbean people, are there with them, gives a sense of hope that the people of the Bahamas are not alone. And I heard it over and over again, the appreciation that was expressed for our presence on the ground. And I know other leaders are planning to go in next week as well to lend support and moral support and whatever support they can provide. But Bahamas is very much part of our Caribbean civilization, and we have to take care of our brothers and sisters.
You have seen the devastation in the islands, as you did mention. What, as far as you are concerned and CARICOM is concerned, is extremely immediate? What is first and foremost to make happen here to help relieve some of the suffering of these people?
Well, some of the immediate needs are, of course, shelter, and I understand since I left that a number of persons have, in fact, been evacuated from both Abaco and Grand Bahama into